What if I told you that some of your favorite foods, the ones you've been eating your whole life, weren't invented in some fancy test kitchen? Nope, they were actually complete and total accidents. Today, we are going to unwrap the amazing, true stories of how a little frustration, some forgetfulness, and just pure chance created some of the most delicious mistakes in history.
So here's the plan. We're going to start with the big idea of these accidental inventions. Then we'll dive into a couple of frozen fortunes. Yep, chili treats born out of some pretty wild circumstances. After that, we'll get into some snackable surprises. And finally, we'll wrap it all up by looking at the genius that's kind of hidden inside these mistakes and, what they can teach us.
Okay, let's just jump right in. I want you to think about 3 classic snacks, things I'm almost certain you've had before.
Seriously, think about it. You've got a frozen pop, a super salty chip, and a warm, gooey cookie. On the surface, they couldn't be more different from each other, but they all share this one, single, surprising origin story. Any idea what it is?
The answer? Not a single one of them was made on purpose. Every single one was a happy accident. It was a moment of distraction, a flash of pure annoyance, or just grabbing the wrong ingredient that somehow, accidentally, created something amazing. And that's the big idea we're digging into today. So let's kick things off in the freezer aisle with 2 icy treats that were born from a little bit of luck and some seriously fast thinking.
First up, the classic Popsicle. That icon of summer? Well, it wasn't dreamed up by some huge company. It was invented by an 11-year-old kid named Frank Epperson way back in 1905.
Okay, so the story here is just beautifully simple. On one really cold night in San Francisco, young Frank was outside mixing up some soda powder and water. He was just trying to make a drink. But, he gets distracted, he's a kid, and he leaves a whole bucket on the porch with the stirring stick still in it. Well, the temperature just dropped overnight, and when he woke up the next morning, he found this solid block of flavored ice with a handle sticking right out of it. And just like that, he'd invented the ice pop.
But here's the crazy part. He didn't immediately run out and try to sell it. Nope. It took him a full 18 years before he thought, hey, maybe I should turn this into a business. And the name? That actually came from his own kids who called the treat Popsicle. The name stuck, and a global sensation was born, all from a forgotten bucket.
All right, our next frozen fortune wasn't about being forgetful. This one was born out of a total crisis that needed a brilliant, on-the-spot solution right in the middle of the 1904 World's Fair.
So, picture this. It's a hot day, and an ice cream vendor named Charles Menches is having the best day ever. So good, in fact, that he completely runs out of bowls. It's a disaster. But right next to his booth, there's another vendor selling these thin, wafer-like Syrian pastries. In a total flash of genius, they roll one of the warm pastries into a cone, plop a scoop of ice cream on top, and boom, the edible, walkable bowl was invented. And the crowd, they went absolutely nuts for it.
Okay, so we're moving out of the freezer and into the snack aisle. We've got 2 more stories of accidental genius for you. One that started with some serious anger, and another with a last-minute kitchen emergency.
Ah, the potato chip. You'd think it was engineered in a lab for that perfect crunch, but the truth is, a whole lot saltier. It was invented back in 1853 out of pure, unfiltered frustration.
So, as the story goes, a chef named George Crumb was having a really bad night, all thanks to this one super picky customer. The guy kept sending his French fries back, complaining over and over that they were too thick and soggy. After the 3rd time, Crumb, who apparently had a bit of a temper, just snapped. He decided he was going to get some revenge.
His plan was just beautifully petty. He sliced the potatoes so thin they were basically see-through. Then he fried them in grease until they were hard, crunchy, and impossible to eat with a fork. He sent them out, totally expecting the customer to hate them. But his plan backfired in the best way possible. The customer took one bite and absolutely loved them. The potato chip wasn't born from inspiration, it was born from irritation.
And for our last story, we're turning to maybe the most beloved cookie in the entire world. And yep, you guessed it, the chocolate chip cookie was another happy kitchen accident, this time from 1930.
So an innkeeper named Ruth Wakefield was making chocolate cookies, but she realized she was all out of the baker's chocolate she normally used. So, thinking fast, she grabbed a Nestle semi-sweet chocolate bar, chopped it up, and tossed the pieces into the dough. She just assumed they'd melt and spread out like normal. Well, they didn't. Instead, the little chunks held their shape, creating these amazing pockets of gooey, melted chocolate in every single bite. Her guests went crazy for them. The cookies were an instant hit. This led to what has to be one of the best deals in food history. She sold her recipe to Nestlé, but she didn't ask for cash. Oh no, she asked for a lifetime supply of chocolate chips. It was an amazing deal that put her recipe on the back of every Nestlé chocolate bar and turned her accidental cookie into a global superstar.
So we've had a forgotten drink, a bowl shortage, an angry chef, and a baking shortcut. When you put all these stories together, what's the real takeaway here? What's the lesson?
Well, what all of these stories show us is that the best ideas don't always come from a perfect plan. Sometimes, real innovation just sparks from an accident. A moment of distraction becomes a classic summer treat. A sudden problem sparks an incredible solution. Heck, even a bad mood can fuel a world-changing invention. And sometimes, the best thing that can happen is not having the right ingredient in your pantry.
You know, these aren't just cute stories. They're real proof that some of our greatest discoveries are totally unplanned. They're a good reminder that the next time something goes wrong or you make a mistake, maybe it's not a failure at all. It might just be the messy, unexpected beginning of something brilliant. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it?